The world of William Shakespeare was much smaller than the one in which we live today. The parameters of how a person could behave and what a person could believe in were limited. Religious and personal freedoms, which we consider so important today, were unknown to the people of Shakespeare's time. They saw the world as a play, written and directed by God. In this play, there was only good and evil, with nothing in between. Everything happened so there would be a balance between good and evil. If the king or queen was cruel, or if a family was struck by a devastating misfortune, it was a sign that God was punishing them. Going against what was taught to be God's will would certainly lead to severe punishment in life and hell after death. There was no mistaking right or wrong. They were taught the lessons of the church. God was the ruler of everything and everyone. Events occurred according to what he wanted. There were no accidents. The church and its leaders were representatives of God on earth, and the king was king because God intended him to be. Everyone existed at a lower social level, with noblemen and churchmen above the common people.
In Shakespeare's day, they believed the earth was the center of the universe, with God and the church at the head. The king's rule was divine, meaning God made the king the center of the country, and fathers were the head of the home. Everyone was obliged to obey this order. There were severe social and political penalties for anyone daring to go against it. With Shakespeare, when people move out of their rightful place on the chain of being, the whole of nature is upset and in turmoil. All the creatures of the universe were arranged in their proper order. God sat at the top of the pyramid, and in the next rank came the archangels and the angels. Then came man, inhabiting the corrupt, sublunary territory. At the top of the human hierarchy sat the king, the only fully individualized human. The importance of the king cannot be overestimated. On him rests the fate of the state. If he is efficient and lucky, then the state and its entire people are successful. The king is on the throne because God wanted him to be. When the rightful king is displaced, nature cannot function properly until things are put right. Below humans came the animal kingdom, the lion, king of the beast at the top, and the worm at the bottom. Then the plant kingdom, each plant in its proper station, down to the very rocks and stones. Everything had its proper place and its proper role to fulfill.
Within the great chain of being, there is a sub-hierarchy of the human social class. Each person has their own role to play, and attempting to change your role or class is generally frowned upon. Shakespeare tries to get the message across to the audience that upsetting the hierarchy results in destruction and chaos. Shakespeare uses characters as a vehicle to represent the destruction that ensued.
In a letter to her brother, King Edward, Queen Elizabeth writes and explains the importance of the great chain of being in society.
In Jamak Highwater's book, The Language of Vision, he states that Shakespeare reinforces his themes through the great chain of being, which takes a colossal leap beyond those themes through metaphor.
Shakespeare uses the hierarchy of dogs as a metaphor for the Elizabethan social class, where just like the different breeds of dogs, each person has their place in the workings of society. Macbeth offers the murderer, who is a poor lower-class individual, a chance to change his social class, effectively disrupting the great chain of being.
In Macbeth, the witches are omnipotent and are seen as almost godlike figures, able to foresee the future. So when Macbeth questions the witches, he's in a way questioning God and the great chain of being.
In conclusion, Malcolm promises to do God's will, while Macbeth questioned God, represented by the witches. Shakespeare highlights the consequences of not following God's will through Macbeth and his death. He also highlights the benefits of following God's will and not going against the great chain of being, as Malcolm becomes king.